An unprecedented event at the White House this morning. President Trump making his way through a mob of reporters for an impromptu interview on Fox and Friends. The president then unloading on top FBI brass over the Inspector General's damning report.
The top people were horrible. You look at what happened. They were plotting against my election. The report, the IG report, was a horror show. You go into the FBI and take a poll of the real FBI, not the scum on top, not Comey and that group of people that are total thieves. I think that the report yesterday, maybe more importantly than anything, it totally exonerates me.
The president also taking aim at Special Agent Peter Strzok. Even more of his anti-Trump texts were exposed by the IG.
I am amazed that Peter Strzok is still at the FBI. And so is everybody else that read that report. And I'm not even talking about the report. I'm talking about long before the report. Peter Strzok should have been fired a long time ago.
And President Trump hammering fired FBI Director James Comey.
They just seem like very criminal acts to me. What he did was criminal. What he did was a terrible thing to the people. What he did was so bad in terms of our Constitution, in terms of the well-being of our country. What he did was horrible.
Can we just first address what happened this morning, which was the presser in general? This is the actual transcript. I had it printed out. It's 50 pages. The media should stop and thank Donald Trump for the most transparent president I think we've had in history. The guy walks out and talks for 51 minutes about everything. Forget the IG. He's the OG. He won't
how bored it would be if it were Hillary Clinton.
Oh, my God.
She went like 300 days almost.
No. She'd need a break.
Without a presser.
She'd need a break.
She passed out before she reached the lawn. Yeah.
There's no such thing in Donald Trump's world as no comment. If you just let him go, if you let him go, at some point he will say your name. We saw that with Stuart Varney. I mean, if he just keeps talking, he will say, kittens are just like unicorns, but smaller. If he just keeps going. But, so that's my take on the actual presser, which I thought was fantastic, entertaining, and it's going to give us 3 segments today on a Friday. Let's talk about the big deal here. It's Strzok and Page and their texts. I hate parsing people's texts because I feel like I'm reading something that wasn't meant for public view, and it could be done to me. 90% of my texts are careless and hyperbole. Half the time I'm kind of buzzed when I'm texting people.
They're frightening. Take my word for it.
However, having said that, when you read a fellow investigator saying they will stop Trump, if that's not political bias, what would constitute political bias? I mean, thinking that there's almost no step beyond what he is saying short of advocating violence or an overthrow or something. I mean, it's like, what would you have to say that's beyond that? That's the limit. So I think it's a bit strange. I mean, I think you can interpret it and say like, oh, it's just 2 lovers trying to impress each other, 2 heroes in their own love story. But when you look at that, man, it's it ain't pretty.
And let's